Welcome to the Founderville.vc podcast. So this is a podcast where we talk to founders and to entrepreneurs. We talk to innovators. We talk to people in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Heck, anybody that just supports founders. Today we've got a great guest, somebody I've known for, about 6 months now. We've got to know each other. We've collaborated on a really cool opportunity that I'm excited about. Welcome James Oliver. James is a author. He is a nonprofit leader, and he is an entrepreneur of all types. So super excited to have you on the show. Welcome, James.
So good to be here, man. Good to see you, bud.
No, it's good to see you too. How's everything going in Hotlanta?
It's funny. Somebody posted something on LinkedIn the other day. Spring is in the air and people are looking for internships. I said, bro, I'll repost this, but mostly it's just pollen in the air in Atlanta. I don't know about spring, it's pollen.
I think the pollen hits you guys, and then 2 days later it hits Greenville. And then, as we were joking before the podcast started, everybody's car is the same color, particularly the black, the dark cars, you can just see the coat of green across them. And it's you can't wash it enough. It's going to stay that color.
There's no point in washing it at this point.
So
gotta wait for another 2 or 3 weeks, I think, before we can wash our cars.
Yeah, no, it's kind of just let it sit and just wait a month or so.
Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Well, listen, you've got more going on than many entrepreneurs that I know. I'd love to get an update on sort of where you are today and what you're working on. Tell the audience what's going on in your life.
Well, I got really excited when you first started talking. I thought you were going to say one of my favorite sayings. You said you got more stuff going on. To that, I would add than a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
Oh, man.
I thought you were going to say that. I was like, oh, man, that's awesome.
I do like that saying.
That's good, right?
Yeah.
Just visualize it. That's busy,
yes.
right? Your long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs, that cat's got a lot going on, man. So, yeah, that's how it feels a lot of times. So you're right about that. And so 2 things I'm focused on right now. One is the nonprofit that I started, the Gabriela Founder Mental Health Fund, which pays for mental therapy for founders who want it but can't afford it for whatever reason. And also the book that I recently wrote that you contributed a phenomenal chapter to. The book's called Burn Bright, Not Out, Shattering the Silence Around Mental Health and Tech Startups. Techstar CEO David Cohn wrote the foreword. Your chapter is amazing in the book, and 90%. So I like to say that this is arguably the most important book about founder mental health ever written, and that's no shade at some of these other really great books about founder mental health. But what's different about this book is 90% of the net profits from the book actually go back to the nonprofit to pay for mental therapy. So the book itself is a vehicle to solve some of the founder mental health problems that we're seeing out there. So those are the 2 things that I'm focused on primarily right now.
The book was amazing. The book, I ordered multiple copies, and, I felt a little starstruck because Brad Feld did a chapter, and Brad Feld he's a known in venture capital. He is a very well-known individual.
He's legendary.
Yeah, highly respected. And I was flipping through the book, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Brad Feld wrote a chapter. This is crazy.
Brad's a good friend, man.
Man, that's so cool. And I think the book, which I can't even imagine writing a book and the undertaking that is. But the way you did it, breaking up the chapters with different individuals that have gone through the struggle, was such a beautiful idea.
Thank you. So that's in part because I'm incredibly lazy and I didn't want to have to write a whole book from scratch.
I know better than that.
I'm also very self-deprecating. Obviously, I'm joking. You don't publish books and start nonprofits if you're lazy. That's just not what lazy people do.
No, definitely not.
But no, I appreciate what you said there. But before I say that, going back to Brad. So Brad also gave me the seed grant to launch the nonprofit through his nonprofit, the Anchor Point Foundation. I just talked to him. I don't know if anybody follows his blog, feld.com, F-E-L-D.com. He put up a post a couple of days ago, and he talked about 3 transformative books, and mine was one of them. But I had a great conversation with him 2 days ago, and for the month of May, because May is Mental Health Awareness Month, we're going to be doing some really cool stuff. He's going to collaborate with me on to really help us raise money for the nonprofit, to amplify this thing, get this thing in front of some really, important big name people, not going to name drop or anything like that, but it's going to be super, super helpful. So I'm really, really pumped about that. And in terms of the book, I was talking to him about doing something. You know how they have those national, like for example, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I was actually talking to him about doing something similar, but for founders. So stay tuned to that for that, right? Because I'm always like swinging for the fences with whatever I do. But in terms of the book, I think the way we designed it with everybody contributing chapters, David Cohn, Techstars CEO, wrote the foreword to the book. Techstars Foundation has donated money to help us, provide free mental therapy for Techstars founders as well. So, you could tell I'm like in with the Techstars thing. I actually went through Techstars. So I'm like part of the Techstars. Is it Mafia? I don't know what it is. Part of Techstars family, whatever it is. So I'm really close to those guys. But we had, founders, investors, all contributing their stories from their perspective. And, I didn't want the book to be prescriptive. I didn't want to tell people what to do, how to do it. So I thought it was important to just have different people from different founder and investor walks of life just come in and tell their raw, vulnerable stories, like no fluff, no spin, no BS, right? Just the stories, the human stories, the crap that people deal with on his life journey and the unique challenges that come with being a startup founder. And it was really interesting to hear some of these challenges from an investor standpoint. You talked about Brad. Brad was a founder first. And, Brad is legendary and well known for being one of the first people in the startup ecosystem to talk about his mental health issues. He started doing that back in like 2013, 2014, which is when I first met him and David. I was going through Generator in winter 2013. That's when I first met him on a Google Hangout, if you remember Google Hangouts.
Yeah.
But so the format is just great. Brad, I loved your chapter, but I just started flipping through it before we got on this call, and I was just like, wow. So I know we're going to get to that. I don't want to steal your thunder, but those are the two things I got going on.
Well, it's a lot. That's a heavy load to carry, and I think kudos to you for what you've done and the efforts that you're putting forth to support startup founders because. Lord knows I've been through the journey, but so many people go through the journey of doing the startup world. And I think from the outside, outside looking in, it seems exciting and sexy and all these things. And we dream of becoming the next Mark Zuckerberg, right? We fantasize of these images of creating wealth and fame and opportunity. And in so many cases, those are simply false promises. Those are things that, if achieved, they don't fill the void that we feel every day, or at least that I feel every day. I battle it all the time, and I think it's amazing the work that you've done. And I'm grateful, super grateful, that you allow me to be a part of this book, and for that, thank you.
Thank you, man, for writing the chapter the way you did. And everybody out there listening, obviously they know you, they adore you, and I would just encourage you to get the book, man. And just go read Shameless chapter, man. It's so incredible. It's available on Amazon. But if I could go back just a little bit, because how I got here, am I putting the cart before the horse?
No, that's perfect. Let's shift. Okay. That was my next question. Is like, how did you?
Oh, perfect. So I went through VC Lab. And I was launching a fund, Kabila Ventures. And it was actually going pretty well. It was not a big fund. It's like $5 million. And I was getting tons. What's unique about those guys over there is they make you get these signed LOIs. They call them hard commits. And the theory there is if somebody say, yeah, I'll invest in your fund, that's different from, I'm going to sign, even though it's non-binding, I'm signing this piece of paper, say I'm going to commit, 50 or 100,000, 250, whatever it is to your fund. That's a little bit more intent to do something versus, just holler at me when you're ready, because 9 times out of 10, that's just not going to convert. So I was doing great, man. I was like on track, and then the new administration came in, and then I just hit a brick wall. And so my first startup failed that I launched back in 2013. And back then, I didn't really have good mental health hygiene. I didn't really know much about that. And but since then, I actually now have two therapists. I got one for the general stuff and one for the toxic co-parenting crap I'm always dealing with. So, and my wife has the best mental health hygiene on anybody I know and is the most self-aware person I know. And just by virtue of being married to her through osmosis, I'm like, way leveled up in that respect. And like I started feeling, the gremlins in my head or those demons popping up, from before. I'm like, oh, okay, I know, like Brad liked to say, I know that demon. I know those demons, right? And so I'm like, doing this fun thing is like really messing with my mental health. And so Nisha Devadas, who wrote a chapter in the book, she talked about, and I'm paraphrasing here, like, yeah, we all want to be successful, but when we get to success, like, how are we doing? Are we whole?
For sure.
So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to pause this venture fund thing right now because it's really grinding my my brains up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so in my fund deck, there was a slide which at the time felt like a throwaway slide. It was the founder value add slide, and on that slide, I put that I was going to provide mental wellness resources for my poor co-founders. Now, I've done this before in various capacities, provided mental therapy, so I have a firsthand view of how helpful this can be for founders. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put a pin in raising this fund right now because it's messing me up mentally. And I'm going to go spin up a nonprofit. And that's when I reached out to Brad to do that. And then, so we're doing that. We helped over 50 founders. The way that works is we provide 4 free mental therapy sessions on the BetterHelp.com platform, and we'll also pay for reimburse up to $300 if you have your own therapist, right? So I'm working on that, and we've done helped over 50 founders so far. We've been doing it about a year now.
That's great.
And I was talking with a friend of mine who just published a book and using this platform called Focus on Words. And so Django, who's the founder of that. So Daryl, do you know Daryl Frater?
Yeah, I love Daryl.
Yeah. So Daryl introduced me to Django because Django did Daryl's book, right? Micro Impact, Micro Obedience, Maximum Impact, Micro Obedience, or something like that is Daryl's book right now that's doing really well. And I'm talking to Django, and I'm like, yeah, I got another book in me because I wrote a book back in 2017. It was called The More You Hustle, the Luckier You Get. You Can Be a Successful Parentpreneur.
Great.
I wrote that for the parentpreneurs out there because it's hard being a parent entrepreneur. And I was like, I know I had another book in me, but I thought my next book was going to be to help overlooked founders with increase their social capital because, overlooked could mean a lot of things, but you didn't go to the quote unquote right schools. If you don't live on the coast, right. Silicon Valley, whatever, right? Minority, whatever, you're overlooked. And I just see them making mistakes when they're trying to maneuver to get the things that they need for their startups. So I was like, I'm gonna write a book about that. But at the end of my call with Django, I was like, I really want to write a book about founder mental health. He's like, yeah, me too. I was like, well, let's collaborate and do a book. So that's how we ended up with the book.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I mean, Django is a fabulous human being. He's building a great company, and I was really curious how you guys came together to collaborate on this on this project.
Yeah. So the cool thing about the way we wrote the book, so he uses AI agents. So he will conduct an interview with someone, and then based on the content of the interview, he'll turn the agents loose on that and write chapters in the book. So he interviewed everybody for 45 minutes. He wrote a chapter, and then turned their conversation into chapters for the book.
Yeah, it was amazing. I was so fortunate because I got to go through the process with Django, and I met Django in person in Charlotte. We met through Daryl. As a matter of fact, there was a conference in Charlotte, and Daryl said, "You really need to go to Charlotte to meet this guy Django." I'm like, "All right, cool. It's an hour and a half. I'll drive up there and I'll go meet him." And he was presenting, if I remember correctly, he was presenting or at a booth, one or the other. And got to know him at that time, and he was pitching me, Shay, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. And I'm like, man, I don't think I have the bandwidth. I don't think I'm ready. Like, I just don't know. But then things came full circle. So as you were contemplating this, Django was the one that interviewed me, and
Yeah, he reached out to you. I didn't know you before Django.
right. I mean, it's so funny how these things happen, and
That's amazing,
yeah,
right?
yeah, no, it's super cool. I mean, I think it's serendipity, right? How things just come together at the right time, at the right moment, and people are ready
100%.
and open for certain things. But the
100%.
book has been amazing. Tell me about the nonprofit. I didn't even realize you were doing that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, man. So, yeah, that's what we're doing. Like, we're just helping founders, man. And I also got, in addition to the therapy, so David Coe, who's the CEO of Calm, he and his chief of staff, Bennett, like Bennett was great. She donated 100 free 3-month Calm premium subscriptions.
Wow.
So if when you send this out, if you want, I could send you a link that you can offer. I think I got like 40 or 50 of those things left. If somebody wants a free Calm premium subscription, I'll put the link. They just put their name in, and I got it set up. It automatically sends them a code. If they already don't have a premium subscription for Calm, they can get that. So I love that because that allows me to go upstream a little bit, because I'm going to be looking for wellness tools and resources to help people to keep them from having to go to see a therapist, or to manage and regulate themselves in between therapy appointments. But just what other tools and resources can we provide to look at, mental wellness holistically. So I was really excited to do that with Calm.
James, how did you get to the point to where, and it sounds like your wife plays a significant influence and role in your life, which makes total sense. I mean, how did you get to the point where you said, I'm going to shift gears and I'm going to focus not only on the book about founder mental health, but just in general, building a nonprofit and then focusing sort of your life at this time on this particular effort?
Bro, like when life gives you lemons, you got to make vodka mint lemonade, right? I mean, I'm sorry to say that like that, but you got to make lemonade, man. So that's it. I mean, it's like I said I was raising the venture fund, and it was so hard. I mean, look, I'm a first-time fund manager, a Black first-time fund manager. Those two things are hard. I mean, the Black part just makes it even harder. I'm just going to be honest.
Sure.
And then, just what's going on macroeconomically, just all the volatility and people feeling less wealthy because of all the ups and downs in the market, and just like, I don't know. And, I was like, man, this is scrambling my brains, bro. Yeah. And because I am more self-aware now, part thanks to my wife and the work that I do with my therapist, I'm like, you know what? This ain't working for me right now. And I'm going to put this down now and come back to it when I'm inspired to do so. But in the meantime, I get to contribute to humanity, right? Like help other people with their mental wellness, which, presumably helps them, helps their startups, helps their families, and helps society writ large. So that's how I got here, man.
Yeah, it's interesting. You said something, it triggered this thought that I always have. One of the times I was in an institution, one of my therapists told me, Shay, the way you build self-esteem is by giving back, right? Because all those times that I was in a different place trying to get well and battling, whether it was addiction, mental health, depression, whatever it was at the moment, and my story, I've been through the struggles, I was essentially begging this individual, like, please tell me how to feel good about myself, because I don't know how to do it. And no matter what I do, I don't feel good. And he said, do good deeds. Just give back. And I'll never forget that, because when I'm down in the times of doubt, whatever it might be, I just know that if I can help an individual, and that can be as simple as giving $5 to the person who is struggling, to just talking to a friend, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, or just giving somebody my time and doing active listening and paying attention and focusing. And it's like, God, I feel so much better about myself when I can do that. And I'm as self-centered as anyone. So that's hard to do. But when done and done right, man, I feel good about myself.
That's amazing. So you wrote in the chapter about your addiction. So what substances were you addicted to?
Alcohol has always been my demon, and I've struggled my entire life since age 15, since my first drink, which I remember so vividly. It's been a struggle, and I've had ups and downs, and I struggle with it today. I mean, I'm not perfect by any stretch.
So I want to apologize for that vodka mint lemonade joke that I made
It's all
a few minutes
good.
ago.
It's all good.
Well,
We live around it. You know what I mean? Like we live around it.
I
It's
know,
everywhere.
but that was not appropriate given what we're talking about here. So I want to apologize for that. So I'll just say, life gives you lemons, make mint lemonade.
That's right.
There you go.
That's right.
So I just want to apologize for that. And that's remarkable what you just said, and sort of similar to the give first ethos.
Mm-hmm.
That they espouse over Techstars, and that I wish I knew about that 30, 40 years ago. I would be so much further ahead. Just giving first with like no expectations. And so, have you ever read the book Give and Take by Adam Grant?
No, I don't think so.
It's you know who Adam Grant is?
I don't. Tell me about him.
Yeah, I think Adam teaches at Penn. But he has another book. I can't remember the other book. I didn't love the other book nearly as much as Give and Take. I think I listened to that book like 2 or 3 times. But it's about so how does one give effectively? And so I apologize if I'm going to spoil this for somebody who hasn't read the book. But the main takeaway for me from the book was, it's okay to give, and this is counterintuitive. You have to give with your own self-interest in mind. You're like, wait, that's the opposite of just giving, right? But think about it. If you're in a relationship with someone and you're giving, that person's taking, and never giving anything back to you, would you stay in a relationship like that?
No.
No, of course not, right? You would be burnt out from all the giving. So giving is great. You simply need to be mindful about how and when and why and where you do it. Otherwise, you're going to burn out. So it was really fascinating to listen to to Adam talk to Brad on the Techstars Give First podcast a couple of months ago, because as I was listening to that book, I'm like, I wonder how Brad would square this whole Give First ethos. And I listened to the two of them talk, and I was like, all right, it makes perfect sense there. So if you want to go read that book, Give and Take, and then go back and listen to that Techstars podcast episode with Brad and Adam as they talk about Give First and Give and Take, I think it's a really interesting and helpful conversation.
Yeah, it's it makes me think about a book called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, and it's my favorite book. And what I've learned about myself is I get so caught up in my own environment that I can't see what other people are feeling. I simply think about myself and my pain and my struggle, my frustrations, whatever it might be at the time. And I try to think back to that book where an individual is in the worst possible environment, in the Holocaust, and struggling in a way that is so profound and incomprehensible. Yet he was able to find a way to get outside of himself, to figure out, how do I give to others in this horrible environment?
That's incredible.
And I think about that. I'm like, I can never. All I can do is strive to be like that, to think like that. But it's one I try to bring back to go, it's not all about me. It is not. And if I simply give my time, my resources, whatever it may be, I will build self-esteem. I will feel better about myself, which will then allow me to give even more. And it's what I've taken into Founderville. It's what I've taken into a lot of my ventures. I'll say this, though, James. In the past, I never did that. In the past, it was a run for the money, a run for the success, a run for the accomplishment, and it was self-will, and it was selfish at its very, very core. And no wonder I drank. I mean, because I felt like an empty soul walking across this vast landscape of confusion.
Well, good on you, man, for recognizing that and making that shift and putting some tools in your toolkit to make sure you don't fall back on that. And if I could shift gears for a quick second, is because I just finished listening to a remarkable book that's not related to what we're talking about. But look, we're talking about being good humans here, right? This is what we're talking about, I think. So it's the Book of Forgiveness by written by Bishop Desmond Tutu from South Africa. Rest in peace, Bishop Tutu, and his daughter Umpo. And God Almighty, bro, like this book is like changing my life already. It just talks about how to forgive people, how to forgive yourself, and why you should do that. It's remarkable. And, you know, as I was listening to this book, I got done. Like, I have a situation in my life where, you know, most of the book was talking about people who did something, like somebody killed someone or assaulted someone. An act happened, it's over, now you have to forgive the person. Mm-hmm. But I actually reached out to Umpo, who's daughter of Bishop Desmond Tutu in South Africa, well known. On LinkedIn, I sent her a connection request. She accepted, and she answered my question.
Dang.
And because my question was around, well, what do you do if you have someone in your life who you can't release, because they talk about either renewing relationships or releasing them. If you can't release them, in my case, because this person is, I have to engage this person all the time, and they're continuing to cause harm. How do you release someone like that? So she was great in her response to that. But that's a book I recommend, like, honestly, just anybody should read or listen to, because we all have hurt people, right? We all need somebody to forgive us for some crap we did. And we all have some people who we need to forgive them for something they did to us. So that's a digression there.
No,
it's just a wonderful
look,
book.
I mean,
man.
amen. I mean, it's holding a grudge, holding resentment it hurts the individual that's doing it. I've learned that because I've held resentments for a long time, and got to learn to let go of that stuff and stay in healthy relationships. Let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about founder mental health.
Yep.
Because I work with founders all the time. You do too, and I see a variety of struggles, and I don't think people truly recognize how difficult it is and how emotionally taxing it is to go create a startup. And you just lived through it working on the fund. And you're right. You're one dude, you're a black guy, you've got a failed startup in your experience, you're trying to raise a fund. I can't even imagine how difficult that was. I mean, I raised my first fund. I had a partner. I'm this, on paper, successful white guy. I've got a network in Greenville that I've had for 40 years, and I raised $6.5 million, which I'm proud of, and we've done great work with. But I can't imagine what you went through, beating your head against the wall, trying to do it.
It was hard. I mean, it was hard, and if you talk about founders, so everybody, there's a stat that's generally accepted. It's 72%. I think it's from Startup Snapshot. 72% of founders are having some form of mental health issues or challenges, if you will. And, I talk to founders all the time. I swear 100% of the founders I talk to are going through some. You know what I mean? But there's so much stigma around it. And this is why the book's so important. The subtitle says it all, Shattering the Silence Around Mental Health and Tech Startups, because we have to make it normal to talk about these things. I did, for Giving Tuesday, I did a 4-hour fundraiser-thon thing, and David Cohn was the first speaker, and we were talking about, he said that he thinks it's common sense that we have to take care of the founder mental health, because in a lot of cases, the founder is a singular point of failure for the startup. And I say, well, yeah, David, but common sense ain't so common, bro. Like, I don't think, and this is my personal opinion. You, as an investor and a founder, you tell me if you agree or not. And I'm saying this because I'm doing this work and I don't see a lot of real concern for the work, right? And I'm trying to be nice when I say that. But I think until somebody can come along with some data that draws a straight line from founder wellness to startup outcomes, it's going to be hard to get investors to really care. There's some exceptions, obviously.
Sure.
Just saying, overall, they're not willing to put their time, money, or attention on the subject, is what I'm telling you, because I'm living through it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I think there's a subset of investors that simply, their attitude is tough shit, tough it out.
I didn't know we could curse in this podcast.
Yeah,
it's like, you told me that.
It's like, I don't even want to hear it, right? Like, just go build the company. Your feelings are irrelevant to me, and go do it. And I think there's a lot of that. And I think I think a lot of people also, James, they're not comfortable talking about it. They don't have the ability to be transparent and be honest, because the last thing they're going to do is show their own colors and tell their own truth. So this idea of working with a founder and helping a founder talk through or deal with a particular issue that they're going through, it's just not comfortable. It doesn't feel good. It's too close to home.
Yeah. It's just, there's so many negative things about that. The stigma, they think the founder's uninvestable, they're weak. Just go look at Twitter and some of the toxic, we're cursing, right?
Yeah.
The toxic bullshit on Twitter. And this is why I love that Will Allen wrote, I don't know if you read Will's chapter in the book. So Will is a retired NFL player. He won a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He played defensive back for the Steelers for so many years. And now he's an investor in Pittsburgh. And just reading his chapter was so great to see how he's incorporating mental wellness into his approach in investing in founders. And then Mike Ma's chapter. Mike is a solo GP over at Sidecon Ventures. His podcast, Alone Together, is for solo GPs. I think you would love it. Well, you have a partner, but you would still love it. But Mike wrote a chapter, and he just talks about how he works with founders and how all that's top of mind, and how he's managing his. I think Mike said he has like 2 therapists. I just recorded an episode of his podcast. It hasn't dropped yet, but I think he said that. Like, I got 2.
Yeah.
Like, goddamn. Like, but it's a lot. And I'm doing, I think May 6th or 7th, I'm doing a conversation on familiar with Gangels?
Yeah, of course.
I think Gangels is the most active pre-seed VC in the country.
Yeah.
Right. So Gangels invited me and actually Mike Ma and Lauren Goodell, who wrote a chapter in the book. The 3 of us are going to come, and we're going to talk about our chapters in the book. And the fact that Gangels is willing to lead on that subject is amazing. Like, I'm talking to the team over the National Venture Capital Association. That's the lobbying group for VC. Because Bobby Franklin, he was on when I did that thing for Giving Tuesday. I'm talking to his team about doing something for Mental Health Awareness Month to talk to some VCs, so investing in founder mental health. But we need more and more and more and more and more and more of this if we're going to make a difference.
Yeah, it takes leadership, and the folks you just mentioned, I mean, they're on the front line. They're leaders. They're leaning into it. They're helping people recognize that it is an issue. And it's, think about it selfishly. If you're a VC and you want your portcos to perform, then just pure selfishly, you want to free up the founder from any obstacle there is. I mean, it's sort of like, I don't care how you get there, but if we ultimately support the founder and give them a resource or tell them it's okay to have the struggle and let's figure out how to address it, everybody wins. So like ultimately, let's get there any way we get there, but I love 1,000%. Having leaders like you're talking about that are on the front lines.
It's a portfolio risk mitigation strategy.
For sure,
period, full stop, right? Like, if anybody knows Alexis Ohanian, I would love to talk to him. Like, at 776, they actually, when they write a check, they put money in for founder wellness.
That's so cool. That's so cool. And, I wonder, with somebody like Alexis, I mean, with his wife, where mental health and focus and clarity is so critical to be a professional tennis player, if that's sort of bled over into his thinking. But I mean, he's been through the meat grinder, right? He's a founder. He's been through it. He's had great success. I'm sure he's had numerous failures that have knocked him to the floor, like we all have.
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, it's a valiant effort that you're working, and one that needs to continue. And I just want to continue to be supportive of you and what you're building.
Well,
any
you're
way
doing
I can. Well,
hey, have me on your platform. You're doing it, bro. You bought books. You contributed to the book.
Yeah.
You're doing it, man. I appreciate you for that.
What do you think? What do you think investors that don't consider founder mental health, what are they missing?
What do you mean? Why don't they consider it?
Well, I mean, why? Yeah, I mean, why don't they realize how important it is? I mean, do you think maybe they've never been founders? That's a lot of times I think of it like that. It's like if you've never founded a company and risked everything, personal life, professional life, financial life, once you do that, you automatically bond with another founder that's going through that. And maybe there's a lot of investors that this is not a knock on MBAs and people that go to the financial profession. But if that's the route you take and you've never started a company, how, I guess, like you can't get it because you don't know the pain and the fear.
You don't. I think maybe that's part of it. But look, I don't want to generalize, right? Because I think it's probably across the spectrum. I bet you there's a bunch of, I would describe as toxic VCs who probably were successful founders. And I think some of it is just like a mindset. I think it's probably across the spectrum. And why don't they get it? Just because they don't want to or they don't have to. They're just like, all they care about is the money. There's probably myriad reasons why that's the case. But the point you made a few minutes ago about this is a portfolio risk mitigation strategy. Like, I don't think it's reasonable to expect, and this is going to be one of those AI clip moments here, I got a feeling. I don't think it's reasonable to expect a founder to deliver outsized returns if their mental health is trash.
Totally agree.
It's not reasonable. It's hard enough if you're in good mental health, but if, and there are some people who their mental health is trash, they're going to put that above everything else and still perform. But again, like, it's great to be successful, but when you're there, like, how are you showing up once you're successful? Are you whole? Are you well?
No, you've hit the nail on the head. It's like optimizing for performance. I think about LeBron James, right, who spends $1 million or $2 million a year or whatever it is on his body, on his physical well-being. And if you're an investor and you've got a founder, it's like, I want to give them all of the tools necessary to optimize their performance. I mean, of course, life happens.
They're still going to fail.
Still going to fail. Still going to have obstacles. Right? Still going to fall down, whatever it is. But like, help allow them to get back up from the fall down and get optimized for performance again quickly.
Yeah, man, I think that's great, and I love what Mike Ma said in his chapter. He said he got this from Eric Bond from Hustle Fund, but this is what he says. He says, if I invest in your startup and you're transparent with me about how things are going, and it fails, I will invest in your next startup. I will invest in your next startup. Sure. It's like, holy crap, how good is that?
Well, I hate to see founders fail, but if I meet with a founder who's done a startup that quote unquote failed, I know how much they learned. And I'm all about backing that person. I mean, I love, to me, that is just one of the most incredible founders because it shows resilience, determination, attitude, like just the sheer will that I'm going to do it again. I'm going to step through that firewall of fear and do this. Hell yeah, give me that founder.
Yeah, no doubt. And so you said that word resilience. Let's talk about that word for a second, because I talked about this in my chapter in the book, which I have really bad ADHD, so I bounce around a lot. And so I'm going to come back in a sec, I promise. But speaking of Django, so Django uses the AI to write these chapters and everything, right? So he tried to do that with me. And then he's like, he said, man, you're very complex, bro. Like, you keep breaking the AI. So I had to go do
That's
my own
great.
chapter. I'm like, damn it.
Yes.
But about resilience, I fancy myself as being in the 99th percentile of persistent and resilient people on the planet. But just because I'm resilient AF doesn't mean I want to always have to be, because honestly, it's exhausting.
It's training. There's no doubt.
It's exhausting.
Tell me this. I mean, as we start to kind of wrap this thing up, I mean, what I want to know is what's next for you, and then how do we support the nonprofit? Like, let's tell the audience like how we support the nonprofit.
I appreciate that. So what's next for me is I'm focused on this right now. Like, I just got it started, and I'm validated that there's a need for this and it's helpful. And I want to start scaling it up some. We're trying to raise another $80,000 to help another 150 founders, but really, I would like to raise a couple $1 million so we could have a budget. I know that we're good for the next 3, 5, 10 years, whatever it is. And we can keep doing this work for as long as it's necessary. So really just trying to expand my own thinking about what's possible in terms of fundraising so we can help more founders. And not just with the mental therapy, but bring on board some other wellness resources that could help them a little bit more upstream, downstream, like wherever they are in a mental health journey, a mental wellness process journey. We can be there with resources for people who want these things but don't have the money to pay for it themselves. So that's really what I'm doing, man. So you can go to KabilaMentalHealth.com, KABILA mentalhealth.com, and you could learn more about what we're doing. You can make a tax-deductible donation. We actually have some swag on that page.
Awesome.
Too. It says, Burn Bright Not Out. That, it's over on a Bonfire, I think, and the net profits from that go back to the nonprofit. Buy the book, right? Just go to Amazon. Burn Bright Not Out, Shattering the Silence Around Mental Health and Tech Startups. 90% of the profits from that go back to the nonprofit. Tell a friend, share it, what we're doing. That's what people can do. I mean, we're going to start making some more noise, as I mentioned here. Going to be really active in May. And we're just trying to turn up the volume of all of it a little bit right now.
Burn Bright Not Out. I love it. Y'all, let's get together and let's help support this wonderful nonprofit, this organization. James, dude, it's a pleasure. You've been fantastic. I'm excited to know you and call you a friend and look forward to ongoing collaboration. And you'll get a donation from me. That's a guarantee.
I appreciate you, bro.
Heck yeah, man.
Let me know when your schedule frees up, man, because I'm only 2 hours away. I can work around my co-parenting time, but I'll happy to come up, man. You show me around the ecosystem. I'd love to do that. Have some coffee.
I appreciate that.
And have a meal, maybe. That'd be great.
We'll make it happen. I'm taking a well-planned, well-deserved, I'd like to say, vacation in kind of mid-April, and I'm going to be gone for a month. And I can't wait. I'm super excited. My fiance and I have been planning that for about 2 years now. So we're pumped about that. But come summertime, I'd love to have you to Greenville.
Let's do it, man.
Awesome.
I'm game to do it. Maybe I could. My wife needs to get out of here too. I could bring my wife too.
That'd be great. I'd love to do it. All right, James. All right, look, buddy. Thanks so much for the time. Thanks for carving out an hour for me, and we really do appreciate it.
Hey, God bless you, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you. This is Founderville.vc, and we are over and out.